Thank you, Rhea. What a beautiful, powerful message and song, oh Mother God. So today we pause to celebrate Mother's Day. Mother's Day and mothers, remembering that more than 100 years ago, on May 9th, 1914, anyone there? The day when Congress declared the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day, President Woodrow Wilson said, "This day has been set aside as a time for public expression of our love and reverence for the mothers of our country." And friends, I would dare say that this is our declaration for Unity Church of Hawaii, for the mothers of Unity Church of Hawaii. Let's hear it up, give it up for mothers today. Come on. Come on, give it up for mothers. Yes. Biological mothers, adopted mothers, foster mothers, tutus, grandmothers who are mothers, aunts who are mothers, mother figures, fathers who are mothers, uncles, siblings who are mothers. If you have experienced a mother figure, a mother presence, today is our day to at least express our gratitude that our lives have been changed for the better. Anybody's been changed by a mother figure for the better. Now, I don't know about you. I was thinking about this morning. You know, mothers wear many hats, and they play many roles. And I was thinking about my own mother. And, you know, I talk a lot about my mother. And I'm going to talk a lot about her in this service. So if you don't like it, just deal with it, because I'm going to tell you about it. And I thought about the many roles that she played and the many hats that she had to wear for her 9 children, 9 of us. Now, I'm number 6 of 9. Think about it. And if you're in here and you played any of these roles, I want you to say, that's me. Let's hear it out. She was an organizer, alarm clock, nurse, counselor, spiritual advisor, educator, the cook, nutritionist, accountant, transportation center, housekeeper, maid, peacemaker, entertainer, coach, and referee, and so much more. That's me. So as we consider mothers and we celebrate you and for your undying love, for your untiring work, for your selfless giving, and for all that you are and all that you've been to help make our lives and our world better, today we celebrate you. For motherhood in this society, in our society, has always been held sacred. It has been the symbol of all that is good and right in our culture. Stats suggest that by the time a child reaches the age of 18, a mother would have handled some extra 18,000 hours of child-generated work. Now, some of y'all to celebrate, send your mother a tithe. If she's still in the body, send her your paycheck for the week because she had to put up with you. It is suggested that women who never have children enjoy the equivalent of an extra 3 months a year in leisure time. Today, in keeping with this theme of Mother's Day, friends, and keeping with our theme of the month, the power of the month, which is power. Last Sunday, we launched a new series. We called it the 2016 Power Series, entitled The Power to Change the World. Today, we will continue on that trajectory with part 2 of the series, The Power to Change the World, changing the world through the power of influence. And as you consider this, we're called today, on this Mother's Day, to be reminded of how maybe others have influenced us in some way, to be better, to do better, to have better, to live better, to give better, to show up in a better way, a bigger way. Then we're called to be that same kind of influence to someone else. Then the law would be accurate. That what we receive, we are called to give, and we give what we have received. On this day, the Mother's Day, the power of influence. And if I ask the question, how many of you have been influenced by a mother figure, a mother presence, who would raise your hand today? If I was to ask the question, how many of you consider yourself to be people or a person of influence, who would raise your hand? Now, let me tell you this. Some of you still working on that. That's all right. Thank you for your honesty. But you know, influence is a double-edged sword. We can influence people for the good, for the better, and we can influence people and those around us for the not so good. But today we are called to be conscious, to consciously influence. There's a word, I think I made it up at the last service. To be a conscious influencer. Is that it? Influence, say it, influencer. I am a conscious influencer. Says a mother took her son shopping. After a long day of shopping, they reached this last store, and the child was, he did really good. He was hanging in there. And the clerk looked at the child and could see that it was a long day for him. And she reached and handed the child a lollipop. And the mother asked, now, son, what are you supposed to say? He says, charge that, please. I know, that's just the corniest thing. Just pray. Abraham Lincoln now is noted for saying, no one is poor who had a godly mother. He went on to say, I remember my mother's prayers, and they have followed me. They have clung to me all of my life, all that I am and hope to be. I owe it to my angel mother. And friends, just as Abraham Lincoln was influenced by his angel mother, we are all called to tap into, to cultivate this potential, this power of influence that we have within ourselves to influence those around us, to influence our world so that the world, it can become better because of who we are and because we have shown up. The word influence, I know it bears many definitions. In this context, influence means to affect or alter the conduct, the thought, or character of another. Influence is that moral and spiritual force, that power and capacity by which we have an effect upon a person, condition, or development. Influence can be likened to a liquid. This liquid, the spiritual liquid that flows into and out of us. You see, the character of what flows into us directly affects our internal state and affects what flows out of us, inevitably impacting what gets into others. Your influence is contagious. Your influence is that liquid that's moving from you on the inside of you, and consciously or unconsciously, it is impacting and affecting those around you. I'll ask again, how many of you are positive influencers? I see some of you still working on it. That's fine. Thank you for your honesty. Prayerfully, by the end of this service, we will have moved to a new mansion. You know, the master teacher says, in my Father's house are many mansions, many rooms. It means in my Father's house, in the awareness of God, there are many realms of consciousness, and we're called to move there. It says, people, places, and experiences that provide positive influence are those that help us to move closer to our desired results and help us to be better than we were yesterday. Many, if not all of us, can probably attest or recall a time that we were changed because of some positive influence. And maybe even experience some challenges of life because of some not so positive influences. We're called on this Mother's Day, to be on the lookout for the inputs that will encourage, inspire, challenge, and motivate us. And I would dare say, if the influence does not encourage you, if it does not inspire you, if it does not motivate you to become better, to better your best, if the influence does not challenge you to do more than you thought that you were capable of doing, maybe that's not the positive influence that you need in your life. If the influence causes you to feel like you're less than, like a call that I received yesterday from someone out of state who said that in their relationship, they just felt they were being told that they were less than who they know or know themselves to be. They were told by their significant others what they cannot do, who they cannot be, and where they cannot go. And they called me just to be reminded. I poured my liquid of influence on through the phone, through the airwaves. And by the time this person hung up the phone, they felt influenced to be influential to others in their lives. You see, your influence, your positive influence, friends, it has power. It has attracting power and drawing power. Your positive influence becomes, as that scripture says, the gift that will make room for you and seat you before the kings and queens of this world and place the kings and queens before you. As I consider this idea of the power of influence on this Mother's Day, I couldn't help but to think of how my mother influenced me, the 6 of her 9 children, on many days. And I thought about 3 key influential things that I carry from my mother today that has really helped to shape and make me the man that you know me to be today. As I considered that, the mother, single parent rather, with 9 children working in a factory job. And I know I probably shared this story. If I have, just act like it's your first time hearing it. And you remember those jeans, they were called chick jeans, C-H-I-C. Some of you ladies might remember. You raise your hand if you know the chick jeans. Well, my mother was the presser. She would get up early every morning to go to the factory with the 9th grade education to press jeans all day long, standing on her feet, making barely minimum wage to go and get food to provide for her children and to keep lights on, the roof over our head and clothes on our back. And I thought about that influence. And so as I consider her and who she was and how she showed up in this expression of life in our experience, she helped to influence my understanding as God, as mother and father. Now this is way before I even heard about Mary Baker Eddy, the founder of Christian Science, who coined the concept of Father, Mother, God. You see, way before I even knew about Mary Baker Eddy, my mother influenced my understanding that God is more. In fact, God is not this big man in the sky with a long beard, with a white robe, sitting on a chair with a big book waiting to condemn you to the lakes of fire. She says, no, that is not the concept of God. I looked at her and I saw that not only is God the Father principle of the universe, that all providing, protecting presence, but God is that compassionate, loving, nurturing, giving energy and presence of the universe. Friends, I didn't get that from reading the Bible. I got it from watching my mother, Delia Tharp. She's taught me that in every man there is the mother principle. Watch out. See, I'm man enough to say it. And in every woman there is the father principle. We have the mother and the father principles of this universe within us, the masculine and the feminine. God our mother, God our father, that makes the one, not 2 separate gods, but the one God. In fact, God is not a person. God knows no gender. God is spirit. And scripture says they who worship spirit, God, must worship God in spirit and in truth. You, somebody know what I'm talking. I feel it. I feel something happening, Alethea. Maybe my mother's waking up on the inside. That's all right. Divine mother, wake up in me. But she influenced my understanding of God. And she says to walk around seeing God from a linear perspective as only this male image that our society have so conformed to. We have, instead of being made in the image and likeness of the divine, we have made the divine in our image. We have put hair and skin and clothes on the divine. But I want you to know the divine is bigger than that. It's too big. God is too big. God is too big to be placed in your box. The second thing that my mother helped to influence, she influenced my understanding of kindness. A kind woman. Even today, kindness. You know, we could use a dose of kindness in our world today, couldn't we? Maybe a double dose of kindness. She influenced my understanding of kindness, not so much in the things that she would say, but she was a kind person, respectful. She taught us to be kind and respectful. But in the things that she did, in the way she lived, Not to say that she couldn't, she had her moment. She was mother and father. Remember that. She was the disciplinarian and the comforter. She could, and then comfort you at the same time. Now get up, go take out the garbage, get yourself together, get ready for school, and make sure your room is clean when I get home. But I love you. Y'all see where I get it from, don't you? She will, no, this is the days before timeouts. Oh, no. Way before timeouts. Y'all got it easy now. What's that saying? Spare the rod. So who knows what I'm talking? Come on. And we wear it like a badge of honor, don't we? Come on, do you not? And I know that there are some excessive responses to that, and I'm not lifting that up in any way. But I know in the way that she did it, she helped to keep order in her house. Now, she didn't have time to be running and getting, baby, you go get in a timeout over here. Now, there's 9 of us. There was only a 3-bedroom house. Now, you go get in a timeout. No, she whipped us into timeout, corrected us. But she taught us to be kind in that she was still kind. She was kind. Now, come here. Now, let me tell you why I did that. See, I need for you to learn to correct yourself so that you don't have any entities, social forces outside of you correcting you. Be your own corrector first. And let my words ring within your soul when you know and feel that you've strayed away from the teachings that I have taught you. She says, kindness. Look for ways to express your kindness. And she did that. Even today, in just barely getting enough to feed her 9 kids, her 9 children, if she heard that sister so-and-so or brother so-and-so down the way or down the street were struggling, she would take her own money, hard-earned money, prepare our meals, but prepare them a big feast. And listen, you take this down to sister so-and-so and brother so-and-so, and you tell them if they need more, call me. That's kindness. Being able to show compassion, to step out of oneself and still express the goodness of God. For kindness is the fruit of the Spirit, as she taught us. And we can develop kindness when we put aside and lay aside those attitudes that do not fit who we are. But the third thing, which I would say is the most impactful thing, that my mother helped to shape and influence. She helped to influence my understanding of prayer. And friends, I count this one of the greatest gifts that she gave me. She helped to shape my understanding of the power of prayer. For prayer puts the mind of man in connection with the mind of God. And she says, there is nothing that prayer cannot change. Jack, when you find yourself in any situation, you can always turn within to that inner power, to that inner force. You can pray about it and get through it. And friends, many days I witnessed this in my mother. And I've probably shared this before. Many nights I would get up, going to the bathroom. You see, my mother's room was right by the bathroom. And as I would approach her door, and it's late at night now. Everybody was in bed when I went to sleep. You know, we all went to sleep, like the Waltons. Good night. Good night, Brent. Good night, Kurt. Good night, Jackie. Good night, Tina. Good night, Tanona. Good night. Good night, Mom. Good night. Good night. Go to bed. And I remember going many nights to the bathroom. And I would see the light on under the door in my mother's room. And I wasn't nosy, I was inquisitive. And I'm like, what is mother doing up? It's late and I know she got to go to work early. And then I would hear her whispering. And she would whisper. I'm like, who is she talking to? And I would continue to listen. And I'm like, well, who is she talking to? Who's in the room with my mother? And many nights I would stay up just to see. And she would get up and she's just as bright and cheerful. And I remember asking her friends many days, Ma, I heard you talking last night. It was late. I was going to the bathroom. Who were you talking to? She said, son, I know you might not understand it right now, but there's coming a day when you will understand. She said, I had to talk to God. See, I was in prayer. I was praying for you. I was praying for your brothers and your sisters. I was praying for my coworkers and my church members, and I was praying for sister so-and-so down the street and brother so-and-so. I was praying for you. And I know that my prayers are being heard. I know that when I pray, God not only hears, the great Mother, Father, God not only hears, but God answers. And there were moments that she would go from praying. You know, sometimes you don't even have the words to say, and she could just hum. And to the best of her ability, she would move into song. I come to the garden alone, where the dew is still on the roses, and the melodies that she gives to me within my heart discloses. And she walks with me and she talks with me and tells me I am her own, and the joy we share as I journey there, none other has ever known. Oh, he walks with me and God talks with me and tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as I journey there, none other has ever known. God bless you. Happy Mother's Day.